So, we are very delighted to hear what you have to say. This is Mars Drummond, is that how you say it?
That is correct.
I just virtually met Mars. It actually was our prior vice president here who got this all set up, so thank you. I think it's a great topic. And you're from Discover Card.
I am.
So do you want to tell a little bit about yourself and then?
Yeah. I started with, and this is in here, but anyhow, I'm Mars Drummond. I'm a member of this club as well. I know you don't see me a lot, but I've been with Discover since 2013. I started out in fraud loss prevention. I'm still there, and I have turned down some promotions because I love working from home. So some of the other higher up positions, you have to go into the office, and they're only like 50 cents to $1 more an hour, and I'm sorry, but working from home is the bomb. So anyhow, and I love what I do. I felt very passionate about trying to help as many people as I can because I deal with this every single day. I take anywhere from up to 60 to 75 calls a day, and probably 5 to 10 of them a day are people who's been involved in scams and that kind of thing. So, it's just unreal, the stuff that people believe and get themselves wrapped up into. So I'm definitely going to go over everything. A lot of this, I'm not in any way representing Discover. This is something that I'm doing on my own, just because of what I do, and because of proprietary confidential information, I would have to get a clearance from Discover. So all this information that I provide to you, except for a few slides, are basically stuff that I got off the internet that I felt that was viable for your information. So basically, my job duties are taking inbound calls from credit card members, analyzing fraud. Some of you may have experienced getting a phone call. Hey, were you in Texas using your credit card at a gas station, and you live in Ohio? No. Well, our system detects suspicious activity. So there's fraud on your account. So I close your card down, get you out a new card number, and then my fraud report goes to the investigation team. That's all I do. Investigations, they are the ones that further do their thing. We don't go and arrest people and knock on the door. Hey, you did this and that. No, we don't do that. Basically, what they determine in the investigation, from what I understand, is a lot of times they reach out to the merchants, and they have to provide. We in turn give a temporary credit, and then upon investigating it, we reach out to the merchant, and then we determine whether or not you did it. And most of the time, it's fraud, but there are times that people are held liable. So that's why I want to do my best to protect as many people as I can in getting caught up into one of those schemes that is not considered fraud and probably can cost you money. So that's basically what we're going to talk about today. So I'm basically, here to educate and protect. You can go and split. How am I supposed to do this? Go like this?
Just look at me.
Okay.
Blink, whatever.
Okay. So basically, like
Cartwheels.
I said, I've already gone over this, so you can go to the next slide. So basically, I just want to promote knowledge and tools to protect fraudulent activity and to promote awareness. This is a big thing, scams and schemes and all that. So without further ado, I'm going to start my presentation. Schemes, scams, and fraud. Oh my. Okay. You saw my Wicked Witch of the West on the front. Okay. All right. So, let's see. So basically, I'm going to be going over some definitions and examples, and schemes, scams, and frauds, what to look for and how to prevent from being a victim, identity theft, disputes versus fraud in the financial industry, tools, references, and tips, and just take notes, and then we can do questions and answers at the end. Next. Okay, so the easiest way credit card companies determine fraud is a break and spending pattern. Like I said, you might, for example, you might live in Newark, Ohio, and next thing you know, you've got a transaction in Las Vegas. So it will detect that there's possible suspicious activity. And that's basically what pretty much all credit card companies do. Next. Okay. So a scheme is someone's plan for achieving something, especially that will bring them some benefit. A scheme is a plan or arrangement involving many people, which is made by a government or organization. Now, this is an example that I've experienced on my job. People will get a phone call, and these people are very good. They're very convincing. They will say, "Oh, I'm so-and-so from ABC Financial Services, and I can save you give you 0% interest for a lifetime on all your credit cards." And they may have a portion of your Discover card number, and so, or what, and they a lot of times know how much you owe on each card. They're very convincing. I've had people, give them their information and all that. So they're very convincing. They will even go as far as, like I said, they sound legitimate, and they'll provide, "Oh, this, my number's this, my name's this, and now just to confirm that we're going to do this and everything, I'm going to transfer you over to somebody else." Well, then the next person is probably sitting right beside them. It's part of the scheme, "Hi, this is, Mary, and, I'm just confirming, yada, yada, yada," and then I'll transfer. So it sounds very legit, like you're really dealing with a company, but a lot of times it's scams. And a lot of times, what they'll do is they will take your information and they'll confirm it. They'll say, "Okay, you live at this address, this is your social, this is your date of birth, this and that." And then what they do is they basically sign up you to get a Discover card. So then we have card members that call in, and they're calling, "Well, I received this Discover card, but I didn't apply for it." Okay, so, did a third party help you, or have you talked to anybody that maybe called you about your 0% interest, or, balance transfers, anything like that? Yeah, and there you are. They, sometimes they'll go ahead and keep the card since they don't apply for it. And a lot of times, they don't realize that that's what they don't tell them that, "Oh, we're applying you for a Discover card." So that's where a lot of the fraudulent applications happen. So it's very important to make sure that you understand what they're doing. Okay. So a fraudulent scheme performed by a dishonest individual group, which is what I just explained, or company, in an attempt to obtain money or something else of value. Scams traditionally reside in confidence tricks, where an individual would misrepresent themselves, someone with skill or authority, such as, a financial advisor, or, lawyer, investor, yeah, but it's mainly in the financial field. It's usually financial advisor or a company, that kind of thing. There's lottery scams, there's spoofing and phishing, which I'll touch on a little later. And these are all considered to be, the phishing is email fraud, basically, which I think you just talked to me about. You'd gotten an email from Discover, but it really wasn't Discover that sent it to you, correct?
Right.
Yeah. They look very legit. Don't click on links. If you get an email from one of your cards or banking institutions, ignore it as far as don't delete on it or anything just in case it's not legit. Call the number on the back of your card, or make sure you call your local office and say, hey, you know, I received this email and I just want to make sure it's legit. Trust me, I have several people every day. Well, how do I know you're Discover? Call, you know, I'll say, I totally understand it. Please call the number on the back of your card. And they will. I mean, they question me. And that's totally fine. I get it. Because I'm telling you what, I have had people call and they will, you know, I have their profile, the account in front of me, and just for an example, I can see this person was born in 1939. And I've got this foreign accent, supposed to be Mary Smith,
Okay.
you know, 1939, can't hardly speak English, but, you know, they can pass, and it's scary when they can pass the security. But, you know, our thing is that we're here to prevent stuff, so if I don't feel I've got the correct person on the phone, I either transfer it to a lead or I put the account under review and let someone call out to them, because, you know, there are people that there's so much identity theft and things like that. You know, it's really scary how much people know about you. And a lot of times they get it from places you have no clue. Facebook, social media is one of them things that, you know, if you put your mother's maiden name on one of them games that they have or whatever, you know, they fish for that stuff. And then they can come up with that. So that's just kind of, you know, some insight there as to how they get all your information. Okay. All right, so here we go with some computer stuff, or the good old computer club here. Computer pop-ups, viruses, products. I've had people where, you know, they get on the computer and they have this pop-up that says you've got a virus. So they'll think they're calling Microsoft or they're calling Apple. And so next thing you know, they've got this charge on their Discover card or credit card or whatever the case may be. For, you know, I've seen them as high as $1,400. Well, you could have bought a whole new computer for that. You know, really. But people fall for this stuff. So, you know, there's fake websites. People will click on Microsoft. They'll think it's Microsoft or it's Apple. There's so many fake sites out there. So it's best, you know, to call Best Buy or, you know, a place that you know you can actually get a person that can lead you to the correct website or the correct phone number to Apple or Microsoft or whoever you need to reach. And as far as, like I said, phony websites, birth certificates and social security numbers and driver's license renewals. I've had people that's lost their birth certificates and they, you know, they get online and it seems like a legit website, and then they call up and they realize, I think that I clicked on a wrong website because, you know, whatever the case may be, I never got my birth certificate or, you know, whatever. You know, it's best to, you know, go to wherever you need to get the birth certificate. I was born in California, so mine would be Sacramento because it's the capital. That kind of thing. And deal with that office directly. Don't be clicking on stuff that you're not sure if it's the right site or not. I've had people fall for this. Oh, they call you up. Yeah, your grandson's been in an accident or your grandson's in jail. And I need you to go purchase, you know, $1,000 in Apple gift cards. People fall for that. And when did gift cards become where you can use for cash? Common sense. But people, they sound so legitimate, so convincing, influential, and I'm sorry, but they tend to prey on the elderly. But I've had people that are young that have fallen for this kind of stuff. I've also had people that have had an Apple computer, and they have had problems, and they call Apple, and I think they're calling Apple, and they tell them, well, please go to Kroger or Best Buy or whatever and purchase, $500 or $500 worth of Apple gift cards. And because it's Apple, they've done it. And then what they do is when you get the gift cards, they want you to scratch off the back for the number and then provide them that. And then they turn around and sell those gift cards. Once you do that, the gift cards are, no longer good as far, you can't get your money back on them and you're out your money. Because that's not fraud. You gave out your card number or you purchased them yourself. So that's where we're going to get into where that's a dispute. Surveys is another thing that people get wrapped up into. I actually had one, and I did some Christmas shopping at Walmart over the holidays, and they tell you, fill up, do this survey where you can, win $1,000. Well, then I got this email or something that said, congratulations, you're eligible for this $1,000, thing. Well, and fill out survey. Well, it's not a survey on how good was your service at Walmart or anything like that. It's how many times you shop at Walmart. And I filled it out. And then I realized, well, it's asking the same stuff over and over and over. But then people, some of these, Costco, I've had Amazon, Walmart, they offer like watches or a gift, you get a free gift for filling out the survey, but you have to pay the shipping and handling. Well, you give out the card number and you get your watch or whatever the case may be, but then a month later you got this $90 charge on there for God knows what, and then it's, once they get your card number, they can have a heyday. So don't fall for the free stuff, the trial stuff, none of that. It's gimmicks, and I'll go over that in a little bit as well. Let's see, gift card purchases for compare. I already went through all that. Trial offers, again, like I said, they'll set you up for recurring. If you do order something, make sure you read the terms and conditions, because a lot of times it'll say, I agree to, and this and that, and then it'll say what they do. It says something about affiliates and agents. So what you're doing is you're saying, okay, say you order a CBD oil, which is a popular thing that people are doing. Well, I ordered some CBD oil, and it was on the Dr. Oz show. This is what they tell me. Okay, so I paid the $4.95, and I got it. And then, they're calling up saying, well, now I've got this charge of $90, and they don't recognize it. And I'll say, well, I see, 2 weeks ago, usually it's a 2-week period, that you ordered, something for $4.95. Did you do any trials? Yeah. Well, that's because you didn't cancel in your free trial period. Well, it didn't say anything about that in the terms and conditions. Most of the time it does, and guess what? It's a dispute. So now you've got to dispute it, which can take up to 90 days. So go purchase stuff at GNC, Walmart, or a place that's reputable. Don't deal with any of the stuff that says, trial this and that, because I'm telling you, and I'll show you later on what it looks like. You can go next. Okay, so again, use common sense. Gift cards are not cash. Craigslist is another place, Facebook, online classifieds. Social Security number revoked or suspended. Your Social Security number is something that you have for your life. How's it going to be revoked? How's it going to be suspended? There's no such thing. They might do that over in Iran or wherever, but they don't do it here. So don't fall for that. If you ever do get a phone call from the Social Security Administration or whatever, hang up, whatever, because, you can call them. It's best to call your local one here in Newark or whatever if you have any issues, but there's no such thing as revoking your Social Security number.
We got one. We got one of those.
Oh, yeah.
I have
Oh.
one this week.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So, next.
So sure you don't call you.
Okay, now this here is an actual card number that I took a phone call for. C$10,000 Apple Store. That person fell for the scam. Went to an Apple Store and got $10,000 worth of gift cards.
You're kidding me.
Look at that. 10,000. And see here, 500 at Rite Aid. So there's $10,500 that they went and bought gift cards. And I don't even remember what the scenario was for this, but it's crazy. I had a guy I took a call for this week. He's an author. He wrote 2 books. And he got a phone call, and they told him, well, we'd like to get your books more out on the market and republish it. And it's not $26,000 he's paid, and I know he got scammed. He's going to be out. Next. Okay, so here's another one where you see Kroger, $500, $500, $500 CVS, and they'll tell you, I had a lady that went all over the place. She was 83 years old, driving around getting all these gift cards at all these different places. And finally, the son must have called her and he asked her what she was doing. Oh, I'm getting gift cards for such and such. He says, Mom, stop, it's a scam. She had already purchased several. So, you just got to be careful. All right, and the next one. Okay, so this is, let's see, up here, see this 89, 95? All these are those recurring scam things I was telling you about. Now what they do is, if you do the shipping and handling for the trial, it'll be like $4.95 or something like that. And then after 2 weeks, they start charging you this kind of stuff. And it'll probably say nothing to what you ordered. I think this was like a keto diet supplement or CBD or something. None of that even says that in there. And they will change up the names and add as many things as they can. And it's just ridiculous. So, I deal with about 5 to 10 calls a day for that kind of stuff. So don't do the trials. I don't care if it's QVC or whatever, or whatever. Those infomercials and stuff. If you've ever dealt with those, I have. You call, you want to order just the one thing. Oh, but we got this stuff for half price, and then you tell them no. Well, then you got something else they're going to offer you, and you have like 3 or 4 things, and you can tell them no, but sometimes, some of these places, or you get something online, it'll pop up, and it gives you no option to click out of it whatsoever until you enter something. It's like your screen's frozen. It won't let you go. You can't go anywhere. So people sometimes will just enter their credit card number just so they can get off the screen. So it's crazy what happens there.
Tell them what to do, Mars.
Huh?
Tell them what to do when they're stuck with a frozen screen.
Turn it off.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Tell them what to do when they're...
So anyway. Yep, Control Alt Delete. Yep. All right, so that's just like I said about the trial stuff. So we'll move on. All right, so now we're on fraud. Definition of fraud is deceit or trickery, specifically intentional perversion of truth in order to induce another part and in order to engage in something that has value or surrender a legal right. Was accused of like a credit card fraud. I also want to reiterate on this imposter thing. Like I said earlier, especially I start at 4 a.m. in the morning. Well, when you think about it, the other part of the country or world is like 12 hours behind us. So when it's 4 a.m. my time, it's usually 4 p.m. their time. And that's, usually I get most of my imposter calls or people portraying to be the card member early in the morning. So they do that. So be very careful. You know, it's, what we try to do is make sure that we're talking to the card member. We'll ask security questions, that kind of thing. Usually mother's maiden name is something that most people don't know, but fraudsters are very good and they somehow can find that out. So, like I said, they're very good at what they do. They're masters at it, and they make oodles of money by scamming people. It's not going to be you after this presentation, right? Okay, next. All right, so how does the credit card fraud detection work? It costs over $190 billion every year for credit card companies to have this system in place. Okay. All right, so basically, like I said, it works on algorithms, tracks your spending patterns. In other words, if you're living one place and there's a purchase in another, it may flag that. If you never purchase anything online and all of a sudden there's an online purchase, then it may flag that, or vice versa. If you only use your card for online and not in the store, it can flag that. So it looks for different kind of breaks in your spending pattern. Or if you only spend like $500 a month and all of a sudden it's $3,000, there's just a lot of different things. Now, a lot of times thieves will test out the credit card. They'll do like a small Apple iTunes song for $1.99 to see if it'll work. And the next thing, we're going to go to Best Buy and get that $6,000 whatever. Christmas time, that happens, trust me. So they will do that as well. Electronics, things like that, those are things that are kind of high dollar things that will trigger our system. So a lot of time, or tires, I don't know what it is about tires, but a lot of times people will go and get tires and it raises the fraud alert. So I'll be like, oh, did you get some tires? Yeah. And they're mad because their cards decline. Well, I know tires aren't cheap, but I don't know what it is, but tires are one of the things that gets flagged a lot. So, and then we also can check sometimes origins with IP addresses. A lot of times if there's, I know Discover, and I'm sure other companies do, send out an email says that someone's logged in from Turkey or Istanbul. And, they're calling, they're saying, that wasn't us. So we advise, reset your password and that kind of thing. Or sometimes if there's fraudulent charge, right, we go and close the card down. Okay, next. So, United States, unfortunately, is very vulnerable to fraud. And the reason being is because, and this is kind of an outdated statistic here, because 70% of Americans have credit cards. And, because there's billions of them in circulation, including both debit and credit, basically it's easy to have them access your information. And I'm going to be going over some other devices and things that do give them the information to, like, counterfeit cards and things like that. So basically, we have very sophisticated systems in place to protect our card members and our assets as well. Okay, so skimming devices. The credit card skimming device reads the magnetic strip on your credit or debit card when you swipe it into a reader or an ATM, gas pump, or other point of sale. The skimmer then stores the number, expiration date, and your name. And then these stripes even appear on the chip-enabled cards. Okay, so basically, and this is a lot of information, I'm probably not going to go over all of it, but basically what happens is, and I'll be showing you like one of the next slides or so exactly how the devices look and that kind of thing. When your card's inserted in a skimming device, it basically copies your card. And then most of the time, people counterfeit the cards, and they're usually people from, other countries, which they can either also just use your number to order stuff online, which is the card not present, but then they can also clone it to where even, the chip was supposed to alleviate counterfeiting. They figured it out before Discovery even rolled out the chip, I think, because, I thought, oh good, we're not going to have to worry about the counterfeit. Well, we rolled out the chip cards and it was still happening. The fraudsters are very good. They're like always ahead of us, or trying, it's just very hard to keep up with them. Okay, so you go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, so here's how it works. Duplicating card reading device is placed over an existing one, and you can see on your printout to whatever. The device reads your card while a pinhole camera records your PIN. And then the device removed and attached to a laptop to download your card details. So here's a copy of, they look legit. I mean, the only thing I can suggest is what I do. People think I'm an idiot when I'm in the store. I don't care. I sit there, even if I'm at Walmart and getting ready to swipe my card, I'll sit there and like pull on the machine before I even insert my card. And they're like looking at me like, what's up with you? I'm like, look, because a place like Walmart that's busy, when you think about it, they're usually 24 hours. They have 24, 25 lanes, but yet they have maybe 3 clerks working certain lanes. So anybody usually, I would say probably 2 o'clock in the morning when it's not so busy and they don't have as much staff, can just kind of walk in near the credit card machine, act like they're looking at the magazines or whatever, and stick these devices on there and then walk away, and then they can kind of remember, okay, well I put that on, aisle 16, and I'll let it run a few times, and then I'll go back and I'll just remove the device. Guess what? They've got all your credit card information in that skimmer. So even ATMs,
So this
same
sticks
thing.
out, I've never seen one.
Well, I know it's not a real good. Gas pumps are kind of your easiest thing, to pull on before you stick your card in. Kind of pull on it, and I guess it should just, trust me, I was told, and even I've seen it on Channel 10 and other YouTube things that I've kind of researched, where I'm always afraid I'm going to break something. They're like, trust me, you're not going to break it. But just really pull on it and see, or if you see tape or glue residue, anything that doesn't look right, go to another pump. Now, there is an app that you can use that I got. There are some free ones as well, and it's I'll have to get it here later. It's basically what it does is it tells that there's skimmers in that area. So like when I pull up to the gas station, I can click on the app and it'll scan, and if it has red and it says, it'll tell it's a skimmer. I mean, it's pretty legit, and it's pretty right on the money. So so far I haven't found any skimmers in this area, thank God. But it can happen anywhere. Gas pumps that are less likely to be seen by the clerk at the window, if it's like behind and down on the ends, those are usually ones that they target for skimming devices and that kind of thing. So, I recommend either going inside and paying with your, way you can watch the clerk, or while you scan your own card at that point, or, paying cash, or if you want to use your card, buy like the gas cards with your credit card, and then just use the Speedway gas cards at the pump. That way you're still getting your cash back bonus rewards and that kind of thing. And always try to use debit cards. Always try to use credit cards versus your debit cards. Credit cards are basically, you're not responsible for fraudulent activity. Debit cards are a little different. you know, because it's your personal money, you can tie up your money, on your debit cards. Okay, so, like I said, this one here just kind of, you can see that's kind of wider, and this one here is kind of different. You know, I don't know that I'd be able to tell on some of them, but it just kind of shows you the differences. See how they changed the keypad. This is how they can get your PIN information when you enter your 4-digit PIN. Okay, go to the next one. All right, see here's one on the gas pump. So see here, I don't know what's really pointing here, but it looks like it's got this extra device right here versus here. So, so yeah. So that's showing you that that little device is a little different than that one. And see how that pops off right there? So, from my understanding, it's pretty easy to do. Okay, so phishing, I'm sure Computer Club's talked about phishing emails before. Phishing, just like fishing, like you're fishing, out in the lake. And my thingy's getting dull here. Basically, it's a malicious group of individuals who scam users by sending emails or creating web pages that are designed to collect individuals' online bank, credit card information, login information. If you have any doubt that you have, you know, a suspicious email, don't click on any links, just delete it. Call your card company and ask them, you know, hey, I got an email. What we do at Discover is if you get one of those emails, we have an email watch that we have you forward that to, and we look into that. Next. Spoofing. Well, you know, this is something that all of us is, I'm sure, with robocalls and whatnot. Spoofing is where the caller can deliberately falsify information, make it look like they're calling you from like your 740 area code, or they'll use, you know, they'll use someone else's number, and basically, I've seen a lot of this where it looks like they're calling from the number, and you know, it doesn't quite match. I don't know. I've done it enough to know if it's the right card number or not. If I have any doubts, I run extra security on them. But they are very good at that. So my advice is if you don't recognize the number, either don't answer it or let it go to your voicemail. And then if it's legit and they want to speak with you, they'll leave a message. Most of the time they don't. Or you can get some of those on your phone where it will block spam calls and things like that. All right, next. Okay, so how to avoid spoofing. I'm just going to go over a few of these. Like I said, don't answer calls from unknown numbers. Answer the phone, and if it asks you to hit a button or to stop getting the calls, you should just hang up. Don't respond to any questions that say yes or no. What they'll do is they can record your yes, your voice, and then they'll use that to, you know, use that for your voice recognition or whatever for other scams and stuff. Never give out your personal information, such as account numbers, social security numbers, mother's maiden names, passwords, or other identifying information in response to unexpected calls that if you're at all suspicious. What I recommend is to have a password, a verbal password, put on your account when you call in and talk to the bank. Because a lot of times they'll already use your mother's maiden name as a backup, or, you know, they already, because people who steal your identity, they know your social, they know your date of birth, and they may be able to, like, I have my mother's maiden name, so the first thing they would probably say is Drummond for mother's maiden name. Well, I'm smart enough to know not to put that on a mother's maiden name, so I put my grandma's maiden name. just remember that you did that. Or, you know, or your maiden name maybe or something. Just make sure that you have the extra layer of protection. But when you call in, you could say, can you add a verbal password to my account? I have that on all my accounts. So even Brad, if he called the bank, he wouldn't know my password. Sorry, honey. I love you, but, you know. Anyway, you know, because that way it does help us as financial representatives know that we are talking to you. You know, it can be a pet's name or something that's not, you know, too hard for you to remember, but yet something that, you know, someone else that really wouldn't know you would know. Not, you know, that kind of thing. And so I said set a password for it, voicemails, that kind of thing. Okay, so I've covered pretty much all that. Alright, so stealing all your credit. You know, there's several different kinds of scams. You just watch out for people who represent that their banks or credit card numbers or companies. Beware of holiday charity scams. That's real popular, especially around the holiday. Let's see. And this is just basic robocalls. Can often seem random, but that's not always the case. Sometimes they are highly targeted, as with older Americans whose Medicare eligibility opens the door to health insurance fraud. Okay. All right. I don't know if either one of you have seen these movies. These are awesome movies. Melissa McCarthy, she's a ham anyhow. I would suggest you watch these. The Michelle Brown one came out like 2005 or something. This is one of the first things with identity theft. Very, very good movie. And this one here is more of a comedy, of course. But this one here really is a good one because she steals her identity and she gets arrested because of all the stuff this woman's doing. So, you know, it's not just, you know, they want your identity for financial purposes, but they can do a lot of other things. You know, you might wind up getting arrested or whatever. So, watch those if you can. This is something I'm not going to touch a whole lot on. These are just the various types of identity thefts. I didn't realize that there was 8 of them, so I learned something when I was doing this presentation. Pretty much these are all self-explanatory. As far as the medical identity theft, a lot of times this is used mainly for fraudulent insurance claims, things like that. And it kind of falls into with insurance identity theft as well. Child identity theft. I've had people that kids are 18, they're old enough to have a credit card, so they go apply and found out that mom signed up cable in their name or something when they were like 6 years old and didn't know it, which is sad. You know, why you would, you know, do that to your own child. Or vice versa. I've seen it, you know, children do it to parents or ex-spouses do it to other spouses. You know, but, you know, it's sad that, you know, you have to worry about your children, but protect your Social Security number as much as you can. Okay, and then you can just skip through all these. I don't think there's really not a whole lot to go over with those. Okay, so disputes versus fraud. As I said, fraudulent activities when a third party unauthorizes card use, obtaining services, credit funds, misrepresentation. So you drop your card on the ground in the parking lot. I pick it up. I go get gas. Okay, so you didn't do it, so that's fraud. Okay, now you give me your card to let me go to buy you groceries. Oh, well, I think I want to go get me a Starbucks coffee with it. Well, you loaned your card to the person, but it was supposed to be purchases for you. But they have your card and you gave it to them. So that's kind of a gray area. You could probably fight if, you know, on fraudulent use. Best thing is, you know, Once you give your card number to anybody, one time, the bank can say, hey, you gave your card out, you're held responsible for it. That's how it works. Disputes are like a lot of those trial things. People give their card number out for the free shipping and or the free product and pay for the shipping and handling at $4.95, and then the $84.95 pops up. Well, we advise them to call the merchant first, because the merchant can just reverse it. A lot of times they're not going to. Good luck. Or you can have a dispute filed. Now, they'll issue a temporary credit. They'll reach out to the merchant, and it'll be up to the financial institution whether or not they feel that, you know, you're going to be held responsible or not. So, a lot of times, like I said, it only takes one time to give your card number out, and, you know, so just be very careful. So basically, disputes can be anything that's kind of like a billing error or anything like that. Now, I brought in some tools here. This is an RFID wallet, because they have laser technology now that can scan right through wallets, purses. If you're going to an airport or anything like that, a lot of times people wind up, when they're going through airports and whatnot, they come back from their vacation and they've got fraud, or while they're traveling. A lot of times I think it happens because of airport security. I could be wrong, but yeah, you can get these. They're usually like, you know, $4.99 at Walmart. You can put your credit cards in them. It does help. It's not foolproof, but it's an RFID wallet. Yeah, like I said, I went over, you know, credit cards are safer than debit cards. Use cash, pay inside for fuel, purchase gas cards or restaurant gift cards. You know, you go out to eat, they bring the thing, the bill, and they take your credit card away. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Because all they got to do is write your number down and order something online, whatever. Just either be nice and say, hey, you know, I wouldn't mind paying, you know, on my own up the thing. Or follow them to do it, or whatever. The more opportunity you let that card out of your hand, the more chances you have of getting fraud on your account. So, never give out personal information. Look for skimming devices, verbal passwords. Don't let others use your card, not even for a one-time use for a utility. I've had people, you know, they'll call up and they'll say, oh, I've got this AT&T charge on my card, and then, you know, and it's recurring every month. And sometimes people don't look at their statements. I do not like paperless, because people just pay their bill and they never look at it. Next thing you know, they're calling up, well, I see you've been getting charged for this for 2 years. Hello? Aren't you looking at your statements? You know, don't do the paperless unless you're really going to keep track, because it will, you know, it can easily be overlooked. But giving your card number out to a grandson or something to pay the bill one time, and then sometimes they'll just continue doing that, or car insurance or whatever, because they'll just continue to charge you, and they're like, well, I only did it one time. Well, again, one time. Guess what? You know, I'm just dumbfounded at all this that happens. That's why I'm here, is to try to protect you. Wiggle and jiggle the devices of the gas pumps, use an ATM, never leave your purse and wallet in the car. Gyms, I have people that, you know, go to work out. I think people, what they do is they sit in the parking lot and see people like put their purse or whatever in their car, and they lock their car and they go in and work out. Come back and their windshield's busted and their purse is gone, or whatever. Or they take their wallets, put them in their lockers at the gym. They go work out, or they go in the shower, and that person has, they're kind of like, they've literally taken the lock off and stolen their cards out of there. Don't take your cards in there. Don't, unless you're going to leave them in a pocket or on you. Happens all the time. All the time with gym memberships and things. Set up text alerts, emails, alerts. I do every transaction that I have on my Discover card, I want to know about it. So I set it for a penny. Because if you set it for like $50 or more, well, someone that, got something for $20, it's not going to show up, but hey, $20, and if you didn't do it, you shouldn't have to pay for it. It's fraud. So set up as many alerts. Like I said, I do every transaction. Look for safe and secure websites. Check rip-off reports. Check for, Better Business Bureaus, that kind of thing. Anything that has like a rating. Just look for that kind of stuff before you order. Be cautious, be skeptical, and don't trust anyone.
Yeah, I'm gonna add to that. I got a Discover card that's through her. I've stopped the dude down here on East Main, got gas, and by the time I get to work, I got a text, you got gas, right?
Yeah.
How do you know? She got a text through the credit card company asking if she got gas. No.
Yep.
Yeah, I got gas.
Yeah, you got gas.
Yeah, you got $20 worth of gas, right?
Yeah. Because I knew it wasn't me.
Yeah,
So,
she's home.
yeah.
But,
So anyway.
yeah, it does work.
Yeah, it does. Credit monitoring. I would suggest every year you can go to annualcreditreport.com and get a free credit report. They are free. If it asks you for a credit card number, back out of it. Or it's best to call the credit bureaus and order them over the phone. Have them sent to you. Sign up for Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, NerdWallet, all these. Lifestyle Shield, they offer services as well. Look for emails that say information has been updated, changed, etc. Possible signs of account takeover and identity theft. So, if you get an email and it says, like I had a person today who his PlayStation account had been hacked. So he got like about 30 emails, or not 30, well yeah, he had some PlayStation charges on his Discover card and his Huntington card, and it said, thank you for getting the game Need for Speed. And he's like, I didn't do that, and I was asleep, and so evidently his PlayStation account had been hacked. So PlayStation had sent him an email says, we feel that you changed your email. And he's like, no, I didn't change my email. So look for things. If you start getting a bunch of emails of things you doesn't sound familiar or whatever, start doing a little bit of checking and seeing whether or not, you have something that's been hacked into or PlayStation, Apple accounts, that kind of stuff. There's and those may not be on your, I think I did go back and add them on your, or no, I did not, some of them. You'll need to write them down because I didn't have them with me when I did this. And so those are the numbers. Innovis is one. They're located right here in Columbus, Ohio. They're kind of a tri-merge. This is one that is kind of added. That'll kind of pull from all three of these. But you can get a credit report from each one of these, and I would recommend doing that every year. They're free. And just check to make sure that everything on there, and all your accounts and all that belong to you. If not, you can dispute them with the credit reporting agencies.
Do you want to give them a minute to write it down?
Yeah, absolutely. One of them, I can't remember, might not be, I think they may have changed, but that was what I had up to date, so that's what we give out.
Somebody needs to put it on this
It's a good idea.
I'm sorry?
Put it in the newsletter next month.
Yeah.
Everybody good?
Are we all done?
No.
I think so, let me look. Go ahead. Okay, yep, so this is just social security information, of our local office here, if you have any issues with that. And you can go ahead and go to the next one. And there's just some websites which you have on your paperwork, that kind of stuff. If you have any scams, you can go to this website to report those. I went over schemes, scams, and frauds, how to recognize scammer scams and deceptive practices, identity theft, disputes versus fraud. And then I gave you tools, references, tips, and resources on how to protect yourself. And next. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope that you found this material information helpful. And I am off to Kansas.
I couldn't say that up there. Without me.
Very nice.
Hurry up and get it to desk.
Okay, is there any questions? Okay, thank you. Yes.
On September 19th, I was attending a meeting in Marysville, and I get this message on my cell phone saying, "Thank you for your purchase from Amazon for $790-some." And I thought, wait a minute, I'm sitting here in Marysville, I didn't make a purchase like that. So I call Amazon when I get home and said, "Oh yeah, you've been pretty active today. You've had 4 or 5 charges through your Amazon account." I said, "Not me." So he really took over and started looking, and of course Amazon charges my American Express
Oh,
card.
God, yeah.
So, but then he found out that my Visa card was also being used at the same time, the same day. Did somebody walk by me and scan my billfold to get my Visa card and my American Express card the same day?
Could be.
Very
Could be.
possible.
A lot
How
of
would they have
times-
done that?
You know, a lot of times we don't know how the fraud happens. You know, they at least had to have your number because they were ordering online.
Yeah, one of the products ended up in Texas, one was in Colorado, one went to Utah. I mean, it was all over the country.
Oh, yeah. I've had people that find out the hard way when they have a bunch of packages delivered and they didn't order. And they're like, well, why would I, you know, why would someone order something, have it sent to the card number?
Yeah.
Trust me, they do screw up. Sometimes there are some dumb criminals.
You
I
have
don't
a
get it.
pending thing on your Discover card, like if I make a charge, it's on pending for several days before it's actually charged to your account. How was that?
Usually it's pending for a day or 2 and that's it.
Because a week ago, I had a charge of a pending charge, I was looking at my bills, pending charge from Kroger for $150. I thought, that looks pretty strange, $150, who did that? I called my wife and said, "Did you spend $150 at Kroger's?" "No, I did not." So I call up American Express, and they say, "We have a certain time that'll come off of there," but I've never seen that before, why Kroger would have a pending charge for $150 if
Was it
I didn't charge
$150? Was
$150.
it $150 even?
Yeah,
Yeah, they could have bought gift cards.
well, I mean, it
Or-
came off though.
Oh,
It wasn't,
you know, and I will tell you about gasoline pumps. Now, most of the time in our area, when you put your card in and it says authorizing, please wait, that is checking to make sure that card is valid and active. It's going to charge your card $1. It's just an authorization hold. Then when you get your gas, whatever you put in is going to post later, that dollar falls off. Now, as you travel other areas, I mean, pilots, they are a truck stop. Guess what? You may have $500 authorization card because they can't determine if you've got a little Pinto or if you've got an 18-wheeler. So people are like, "I didn't get no $500," and they're freaking out. Well, that is their authorization hold. 7-Elevens, you know.
I think
like
that's
I
what
said.
happened to my Kroger.
And it might be, you know, some
Same
of them do
kind of deal.
150, some
It
of
came off
them
of
do.
there, I didn't recognize it after that.
Yeah, and sometimes that happens. And there was another thing, and I was going to go over something and it skipped my mind. Okay?
I just, a number of years ago, we were in California, and you get a rental car, and you've got to fill the gas tank up before you go to the airport. So we went to the nearest gas station on the way to the airport, paid with it, with the card, got in the car. By the time we boarded and got home, they had already charged $3,600 in charges in, what's the valley there? We were outside San Francisco. Yeah, like Silicon Valley. And the only reason that it wasn't more is that we had a limit, a daily limit on our card, which unbeknownst to me was what the bank had just chosen to do. And it was like $5,000 or $6,000 per day limit. And the person had tried to buy a $12,000 Movado watch.
Oh yeah.
And that triggered it. So by the time we got home, you know, of course, usually the first thing, I'm in an accounting finance person, so usually for me the next day is I'm checking all the receipts, all the bills, I'm looking at the card, and it just so happened I was actually flying out the next day to go someplace else. So I was really getting everything done as fast as I could, so that when I left, my husband didn't have to worry about things. I made sure I had cash available, things I was doing, so I could leave the next morning to go someplace else. And so it was like 3 in the afternoon when I finally had time, and I sat down and did all this. And I said, oh, $987, $888. Wait a minute, we were in the air. You know, I wasn't at Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco, you know. So anyhow, of course, called the bank, and they put a hold on it, and I said, oh gee, at the time I think we only had one credit card.
Oh, see, then you're.
Yeah, and so I was leaving the next day, I needed a credit card. So anyhow, it all worked out. But the one thing that they suggested that we do, they did determine, and to make matters worse, it was our debit card, because we were it was brand new. We're the type that pays for things as we go, and so that's why we really didn't use credit cards. And so we filled that gas tank up. So it really did take, and we also had it set up that when money out of the checking account, they automatically transferred to our savings. So they had paid all that $3,600. Ended up, by the time they got it canceled, it was almost $6,000. Well, that came out of our savings account to cover it, and it took them, I think it was 6 weeks before they put that money back. So that's the difference between debit and credit. So we were out that $6,000 until they got it. They did determine it was the attendant at the gas station. And at that time, we didn't know about skimmers. And not only did he use it, but they had a little deal going on at the Shell Station Buddies. They shared them. So that's why we had charges in San Francisco, we had charges down here, we had charges over here, and that's what finally triggered it, was they were like, this person's in all these places on the same, they weren't smart crooks, like you said, you know, because they knew that the same number couldn't be used in all these different places within, so they did determine what the scheme was. But one thing that we found working with the fraud agency division was that we weren't privy to what happened. They did determine who did it and what, but we were not given any identifying information.
Right.
We didn't know what the outcome was. Did they find out really who did it, and did they get convicted or anything like that? But we did get all of our money back. But it was 6 to 7 weeks. And the one thing that we did then was, I never use a debit card for any reason other than to ATM cash. I don't use it to pay for anything. And we have daily limits on every single card that we do have. And it's not $5,000.
Yeah, that's pretty high. I think you had a question?
The Discover Card statement that I get has a credit report section.
For your FICO score?
Yeah. Is that produced by any of those major companies?
We partner with Experian. You know, I'm not real. I mainly do fraud, but we do partner with Experian. We do monitor. That's where your credit score, I believe, comes from, as well as with Experian. We partner with them, and anybody that has a Discover card, they are monitored for if your social security number is used on the dark web. You'll get notified, or if any other accounts are opened up, such as a Lowe's or a Home Depot. Doesn't have to be a Discover card. You know, then we do send out an alert, and we have a specialty team that handles that.
How's the alert sent out?
Usually it's sent out either text or email. Yeah. So
So the email we have on the account would be the one that we receive if we don't have a text phone number.
and I would recommend is, you know, the text. What's nice with most, I'm sure probably the other card agencies do it too, is the texts are nice. You know, if you are, like I said, Christmas, everybody's you know, spending and things like that, so they're going to see some out of pattern stuff going on. So if you are, you know, in the line, you know, I get people, oh, I'm so embarrassed. It's like I don't have any money. You know, it's like, I'm really sorry. You know, it's not meant to embarrass you. It's there to protect you. You know, did you get an alert? Yeah, but all they had to do was text Y, and that resets their card, and then you can rerun your transaction, and it'll go through. But I don't know what the other cards do, but you know, I just recommend that anytime your card's used, be aware of it. Get off the paperless statements. I know it's clutter, but you know, go through it with a fine-tooth comb, because a lot of times people don't catch stuff. Or, you know, if it's one spouse that does the finances, you know, and then the other spouse happens to just look at the account and they're like, what's this, what? I thought you did that. Well, no, I thought you did that. And, you know, so don't assume that the other person did that, you know. So just be very careful. Like I said, the scam things are the things that irritate me the most.
Just a comment, which I didn't hear you say, and I want to add to what you said. I too am a little bit upset when I go to use my credit card. It's a big purchase. I'm buying gift cards at Kroger, fuel points, etc., and it's declined. And so I get another credit card out, but this card has the bonus points on it. And so I went to my bank recently and I said, I'm getting upset with your bank card rejecting me. But here's what I learned. She said, if you are going to make a large purchase, well, she said the first thing is, I said, I travel a lot. I'm retired. I go here. I'm going to go to Chicago this week. In 2 weeks, I'm going to go to Atlantic City. In 3 weeks, I'm going to go to Williamsburg. Just call up and say to the credit card when you're going to be in these places.
Travel next.
So
absolutely.
When we're in Ohio and Atlantic City and in Virginia, all in 3 different days, it looks like fraud if that card's moving. The second thing she says, if you know you're going to make a big purchase, call them. And I was at Newark Chrysler Plymouth about 5 days ago. My car had major repair, $1,600, and it was rejected. I mean, I was hot. But anyway, I called up and I complained to them, and within 15 minutes, it was straightened out. So now I know if I want to go buy a lot of gift cards at Kroger to get fuel points, because it's 4 times right now till tomorrow, Tuesday, then call ahead. I'm going to buy $500 worth of gift cards, and they're alerted. So I've learned those 2 things.
Right,
recently.
and with us, we can't manipulate the system, but we can notate, and we can override. So like I said, you know, it's not there to embarrass you. It is there to protect. You know, as you see, it's $190 billion a year for the detection system that the credit cards pay, and that's not including the money that those cards eat for for things that they lose, you know, and the merchants as well. So It's always nice if, to have those emails that, says, well, thank you for ordering Amazon. You didn't order anything from Amazon. Call Amazon and say, hey, I didn't order anything. Try to stop that Amazon from delivering because, Amazon's going to be out that money, if they ship it out and everything. So, but, it's kind of a catch-22. Yeah.
Hi. I have a question about blocking spam calls.
Okay.
So for a while, we thought that, what is it, pound 60 works after
69 or whatever? Or,
No, that's to get their number.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't think that works unless they keep changing the phone number. So is there a way, I identify the ones, it's just like they start to call at the same time every day. And it's just like, but it's annoying because you have to stop what you're doing and go look and see who's calling. So I didn't know if there was a way to block them.
I signed up for
If anybody has
RoboKiller, which is, I think Channel 10 recommended that. And it does cost, but I'm sure there's maybe a free one.
What is it,
RoboKiller. And
my
it doesn't even, it'll say right on there, it'll ring for a minute or even a second, and it says spam call block. And it'll maybe say, car warranty. Or it'll kind of maybe have a blip as to who it was that was trying to call.
Well, some of them are now coming in as spam, whatever the name of it is, but a lot of them are local calls.
Yeah. Well, and they're probably spoofing. They're not really local. They're just saying they're local. Which, my RoboKiller, I used to get numerous calls, robocalls. I hardly get any now with RoboKiller. So, and I was going to give you that skimming app. It did cost me $1.99, but it's just I think it's one time, or it might be a year, I'm not sure. But it's very accurate. And all you do is, once you download it from your, and I found that out from a card member. He told me that he uses it, and I didn't realize there was such a thing. It is called Skim Plus. And how it works is once you download it, you pull it to the gas station or the ATM or whatever, and you would just hit scanner. It'll show you on here, and then it'll pop up all the ATMs in the area or wherever, and if it'll have red or green, and it'll tell you if there's a skimmer or not. And if there is, you need to report it to the manager of the establishment and also notify the police. That's what it says. Yes, Mary?
What was the name of that again?
Skim Plus.
Skim?
SKIM Plus.
Is it a plus mark or is it the word?
PLUS. Skim PLUS.
What's it on? Is it on the Apple or?
If you have an Android, it'd be your Google store.
Right.
You go to your Play Store and download the app. Like I said, it might be like $1.99 or something, I don't know. But there might be some that are free, but I, just got this one because it's recommended. Yes.
Just real quickly, I want to tell something a little bit different about your company, and if you still do this. We were visiting our son in Montana, flew out, rented a car, were to return on a Sunday. So we had decided on Saturday to take a trip. Filled up the gas tank, took the trip, came back to the hotel, and then we decided to fill up the tank before we went to the airport so we wouldn't have to do it in the morning. Flew back home. Jim went to the store on Monday morning and his card was declined. Well, he came home and I was hot and mad. I called Discover and they said, this is not your normal behavior. You got gas 2 times in a day in the same place and it was denied. I said, yay, goody, glad. And they said, all you have to do is go to the manager or the service desk and say to them what happened. They are to call Discover and it's all taken care of. I said, I was delighted. He was embarrassed, but I was delighted.
Yeah.
So do you still do that?
We do.
Okay.
Absolutely. One other thing, speaking of motels, this is another thing. When you're traveling this is something that they've gotten good at, is when you're making your reservation or you're checking in or whatever, and you give them your card number. And I really wish that all the hotels would put this in their room, you know, right by the phone. Is somehow, I don't know how they do it, but they'll know that you're staying there at the hotel, and they'll pretend to be, hi, this is so-and-so from the front desk, and your card, there's something wrong with your card and it didn't run through. Can you give us your card number again? Over the phone. Do not fall for that. Say, okay, well, I will just come down to the front desk and give it to you again. Because I'm telling you, I don't know how they do it or how they know your business and how you know what room, how they know what room you're in or whatever. But I've had several calls like that. And, you know, the people have called me and said, well, you know, we just went down to the front desk because we was out and asked them if they got our credit card straightened around. They're like, we didn't call you. And it was you know, they actually called the room number and they picked up the phone and said, you know, we're calling you from the front desk and yada yada yada, and they gave their card number out, and then they started having fraudulent charges. Don't do that either. I almost about ready to go back to cash. You know, it's sad, but hey, you know, it's really ridiculous. Yes, sir.
You talk about going back to cash. I've used cash most of the time. I don't know why it is, but every time I buy something, within a day, I get an email from Wally Mart stating that, okay, we got this survey for you. Or from Kroger's, this survey. And I turn around and shove all those emails into the scam bin. That usually stops it.
Yep. Like I said, I thought, well, you know, it has $1,000. You know, even Subway and certain places, they all have those surveys, call here and that. You know, after trying that one time last week or whenever it was, I thought, you know what, nah, it's not worth it. Yeah.
So guys, we're only have a few minutes left. I just wanted to say thank you. If you have any more questions, Mars, I don't know if you're staying after a little bit. We have been diligently, Ken has been diligently, as I push buttons, trying to print off handouts. So if you'd like a handout, come see me. But do you have anything else to finish?
I don't. I'm pretty much finished.
Okay.
I hope that this information was helpful, and hopefully, please spread the word. You know, if you talk to someone or a friend, and you know they're going to go buy gift cards because of such and such. Stop them, please. You know, I hate to, you know, my heart just aches to have people lose money like they do, like $10,000. That's a lot of money.
I just want to make a comment. I think that the elderly people are targeted because we're used to a different time where we trusted people.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. You know, so don't fall for it. It's not worth it.